members of the Sri Sampradaya. And this place, we can find wonderful worship of the beautiful form of Sri Ranganath. And this Sri Rangam was the headquarters of famous acharyas like Ramanuja Acharya, Yamuna Acharya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to this place. We know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he travelled all over India. He went from the mountains to the oceans. And he turned this congregational chanting into this mass movement. And it was seen, it was like hundreds and thousands of people chanting and dancing ecstatically through the towns and streets and villages, caught up in this tidal wave of ecstatic emotion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went there, and he was dancing and chanting before the beautiful form of Ranganath, and everyone was dancing and chanting. And at that time there was a very great Brahmin named Venkata Bhatta. So he saw the Lord, and he begged and pleaded with the Lord, "My dear Lord, this is the beginning of the rainy season. It is tradition that sannyasis do not travel during the 4 months of Chandramasya. So I beg you, please, you come and stay at my house for that time." And he begged the Lord, "Please remain with him for this period." So Lord Chaitanya agreed, and he went to their home. And there, Venkata Bhatta, he washed Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. And he drank that water, and he also distributed that water to all his family members. So at this time, he had a little 7-year-old son named Gopala. And he drank that water. He drank that water that had washed the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he drank that water, something just came over him. He began to weep in ecstatic love. This little 7-year-old boy, and he fell to the ground. He was just experiencing this intense, ecstatic emotion and love for Krishna. From that day on, he was so, you could say, transcendently infatuated with love for Krishna. And he just couldn't give up the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He just wanted to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all the time during that 4 months. Day and night, this little Gopal Bhatta, he remained close to the Lord. He was performing some special services for the Lord, and he was just attached to the Lord out of love. And of course, this is very, very pleasing for Gopal Bhatta's father, who encouraged his son to serve the Lord in most wonderful and menial ways, day and night. However, one day this young boy, Gopal Bhatta, he began feeling despondent. He was thinking, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, the Lord of Radha. Why has he taken the vow of sannyas? Why is he living a life of an ascetic, performing so many severe austerities? Why is it that I am so sinful and so unfortunate that I did not see the Lord when he was in Navadvip Leela, when he was married to the goddess of fortune, when he had beautiful long black hair, wonderful golden dhoti, wearing beautiful ornaments? Why did the Lord have to become a sannyasi? Such a harsh, lonely life. So Gopal Bhatta was thinking like this. And in this mood, he was only 7 years old, he used to weep. He used to weep. Day after day after day, he would weep, thinking like this. Then one day, while he was weeping, he fell asleep. Then, all of a sudden, Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in that Navadvip form, with the long, dark, beautiful hair and the yellow dhotis, so beautiful silken dhotis and different ornaments. And he was looking very charming, very effulgent. So in this spiritual vision, Gopala Bhatta, he saw the whole of Navadvip before his eyes. And there was Lord Chaitanya in his beautiful form, walking down the streets with his associates, such as Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu. And then he saw himself, Gopala Bhatta. He was walking beside Lord Chaitanya down the streets of Navadvip. So in this spiritual vision, Nityananda and Advaita Acharya suddenly turned and they embraced Gopala Bhatta and was about to tell him something very confidential, and all of a sudden Gopala Bhatta woke up. And as soon as Gopala Bhatta woke up, he immediately ran to that place where Lord Chaitanya was sitting, and he fell at his lotus feet. And when he looked up at Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya had actually transformed his beautiful body into the form of Sri Krishna, playing his transcendental flute. So the Lord Krishna, with his beautiful lotus eyes, was gazing lovingly at Gopala Bhatta. Gopala Bhatta was just stricken with ecstatic love. Then that form of Krishna manifested again as Navadvip Chandra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he appeared in Navadvip as a householder with his long hair, and he's married to the goddess of fortune, with his curling long dark hair, beautiful golden complexion, decorated with precious jewels. Gopala Bhatta was overwhelmed. He fell at the Lord's lotus feet. And when he lifted his head, the Lord had again assumed the form of the sannyasi. Then the Lord lifted that little boy, Gopala Bhatta, onto his lap, and he began to just soak him with tears of love. And Gopala Bhatta, in reciprocation, began to soak the Lord with tears of love, just streaming from his eyes. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to instruct him about his mission in life. He told him, "You should go to Vrindavan and associate with my two intimate devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami, who are writing precious literatures. In the course of time, you will have many disciples, and you will distribute these books written by those Goswamis. But at this time, you should just stay at home with your parents, as they are great Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. You must humbly and faithfully serve them. And after they leave this world, then you may go to Vrindavan and all your desires will be fulfilled." So Lord Chaitanya, he stayed there at the home of Venkata Bhatta during the 4 months of this Chaturmasya in South India. And this time, in South India, they worship the form of Lord Vishnu with awe and reverence. So Lord Chaitanya, he was preaching to Gopala Bhatta's father, Venkata Bhatta, and his two brothers. And he was preaching to them that the worship of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan is much, much higher than the worship of Lakshmi and Narayan in the mood of awe and reverence. So what happened is Venkata Bhatta and his two brothers, they became devotees of Radha and Krishna. And joyfully in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were constantly engaged in kirtan, chanting the names of the Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became the life and soul of Gopala Bhatta. at that very young age. And his father and two brothers also became, Lord Chaitanya became their life and soul. However, what happened after the 4 months had passed? That was, they were just about to expire. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preparing to part. And they were simply crying and weeping, just feeling this intense pangs of separation, knowing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was soon going to leave their association. And they just fell at the Lord's lotus feet and completely surrendered their lives to Him. So Gopala Bhatta, he followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. He stayed home, faithfully and obediently served his mother and father during that time there was a famous acharya, Prabhu Saraswati. And he was a great Brahmin scholar. He became the guru of Gopala Bhatta. And under him, Gopala Bhatta studied the Vedic literatures, and Gopala Bhatta soon became a very famous scholar. And in each and every class, he would simply glorify the mercy and the glory of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just his life and soul. And he would explain in his lectures how devotion to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the conclusion of all scriptural knowledge, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was none other than Radha and Krishna. So the years passed by. Then one day Gopala Bhatta's parents came to him and they reminded him of the Lord Chaitanya's desire that he should go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So after giving him this reminder, they gave up their life yes, just almost directly after that, and they returned to the Lord's abode. They were actually great Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Thus, Gopala Bhatta set off on his journey to Vrindavan. So when he arrived in Vrindavan, all the Vaishnavas were so happy and anxious to meet him. And soon after, Gopala Bhatta, he accepted the dress of an ascetic, and just was wearing a little loincloth and a little chadar. And Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they became his very life and soul. And this is the mood of exalted Vaishnavas. They humbly take the position of being subordinate to other Vaishnavas. They want to be second to everyone. To serve each other and worship and love each other. And this gives the great pleasure to the Lord, seeing such loving exchange amongst his devotees. So Srila Rupa and Sanatana, they sent a letter to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explaining how Gopala Bhatta has arrived safely in Vrindavan and what a wonderful devotee he was. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so happy. He began to extol the glories of Gopala Bhatta. And out of love, he sent a return letter and some gifts for Gopala Bhatta. And he gifted Gopala Bhatta his own personal loincloth, some Jagannath Prashadam, and he also had this little wooden seat that he would specially sit on while he was doing his puja. So when Gopala Bhatta received these special gifts from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was just overjoyed. He treasured these gifts for his entire life. In fact, in the temple which Gopala Bhatta that he established, just close to the deity, that loincloth and that wooden seat is still there, present in the temple. So when Gopala Bhatta was in Vrindavan, he narrated to all the devotees there the wonderful, amazing pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in South India. And all the devotees were just in ecstasy, for no one knew anything about these pastimes and leelas. So at that time, Rupa Goswami, he was worshipping Radha Govinda. And Sanatana Goswami, he was worshipping his Madan Mohan. So then one day, a very wealthy devotee came to Vrindavan, and he gave all these jewels and crowns and fruits to the Goswamis to worship their deities. So at that time, Gopala Bhatta, he didn't have any deities, but he had 12 shalagram shilas, which he used to place in a piece of cloth. He used to wear them around his neck and carry them wherever he went. So he kept them always with him, and he worshipped them with great love. But now that he'd been given all this jewelry and these crowns and fruits, he felt unhappy because he had no deity to decorate them. So he started praying to the Lord that, my dear Lord, if you so desire, please allow me to serve you in your beautiful threefold bending form. So in this mood he prayed. He prayed to his shalagram shilas. So what happened? Something very mystical. The next morning, when he came to do his shalagram worship, he saw that one of his shalagram shilas, his little Damodar Shila, had transformed into this beautiful form of Krishna. He was only a little form, a little 12 inches high, but he was just so incredibly enchanting, and he was just playing his flute. Gopala Bhatta was amazed. He was just there, looking at this little deity, this little Damodar Shila that had transformed into this little beautiful deity of Krishna. He mentally bowed down, he offered wonderful prayers. Of course, news spread. The Vaishnavas came, including Ripa and Sanatan, to get darshan. Everyone was just struck with wonder. They're very mystical. So, of the 6 Goswamis' original murtis, this Radha Damodar, I think, is the only one that has never left Vrindavan. Because at different times, Muslim invasions and things, deities had to be moved here and there. But this little Damodar, he never wanted to leave Vrindavan. And during the Muslim invasion, he was so small, he was very easily concealed due to his small size. So on the day of his appearance, Gopala Bhatta named him Radha Ramana, one who gives the greatest pleasure to Srimati Radharani. And on this day, all the Vaishnavas had a wonderful festival and celebrated this appearance of Shri Radha Ramana. However, one day, Gopala Bhatta was worshipping him, and he began to feel really sad. And the reason why he was feeling sad, because Gopala Bhatta was thinking that before my father left his body, he told me, he instructed me, that I should spend my whole life worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But now, I'm just spending all my days worshipping Radha Ramana. So as Gopala Bhatta was lamenting like this before his deity of Radha Ramana, suddenly, right before his eyes, that little deity of Ramana revealed himself as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his beautiful golden form. The deity just transformed. Suddenly there was a little Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, right before his eyes. And then again he transformed himself back into Radha Ramana. So Gopala Bhatta was very happy. He understood by the Lord's mercy that he was actually worshipping Lord Chaitanya directly through worshipping Radha Ramana. So Gopala Bhatta, he lived in the association of the Vrindavan Gaudiya Vaishnavas for many, many long years. And he was just assisting in writing different scriptures like the Hari Bhakti Vilas and many others. In this way, he was always just assisting the devotees in their wonderful services, in writing books, deity worship, building temples. And Gopal Bhatta, Goswami, he was a deeply learned scholar. He had many very highly qualified disciples, and one of these disciples was named Gopinath Pujari, who surrendered his life to serving his guru and his guru's deities, Radha Raman. And another disciple was the younger brother of Gopinath Pujari named Damodar. So to this very day, 500 years later, the descendants of this Damodar Das, they do all the puja for Radha Raman in Vrindavan. And to this day, Radha Raman has never missed an offering. And all these precious jewels and gold and various paraphernalia that have been offered to the deity by kings and wealthy donors and merchants over the centuries, not a single thing has been lost. So it's Gopal Bhatta Goswami himself who, to preserve the high standard of worship for his beloved Radha Raman, personally organized all the rules and regulations of how the deity should be worshipped. And he arranged for this line of descendants of his disciples to take responsibility to preserve that worship for all time to come. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he told his disciples that in all of Vrindavan, Radha Raman Temple has the best, most devotional worship of deities. So we can understand that there are different varieties of rasa amongst great Vaishnavas. So Gopal Bhatta, he was such a great personality in every possible way. But he was so humble that he never wanted any credit for anything he did. He just always wanted to be seen as someone behind those persons who were behind great devotees. He was just there trying to serve the Vaishnavas, And actually, when the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he approached Gopal Bhatta Goswami for his blessings, to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gopal Bhatta, he agreed on one condition, that his name would not be mentioned in any text of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he described the glories of the Goswamis Vrindavan. He respected Gopal Bhatta's Goswami's wish and carefully avoided describing his unlimited glories in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we don't really know what his appearance is. We see a lot of. I don't think it's completely verified when these Goswamis appeared, but you'll see in the Vaishnava calendar, it's always their disappearance day that comes up on the calendar. And there's not a lot of information about Gopal Bhatta Goswami, but I've just covered as much as I could research. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki. You might like to add any stories?
There's a story of Gopal Bhatta.
Wait. Get the.
It's that nice pastime when Gopal Bhatta Goswami went up to the Gandaki River, and that's where he actually. And he was actually collecting water in his pitcher, and suddenly these 12 shalagrams appeared. They jumped into the pitcher, and he tried to empty it out, and again they jumped back in. I think he did it 2 or 3 times. So then he could understand that they wanted him to take him and worship.
Yeah, that's where he got those shields. Yeah, I remember that story actually. Yeah. So he put his jug, you say, or his hand in the Gangaki?
A water pitcher or something.
Yeah. And they just appeared to him.
They jumped in.
The Gandaki River is way, very high up at the source of the Himalayas. Right the source of the Ganga, isn't it? Right up there in the high Himalayas. And they say that you can put your hands on there and chant mantras and the shaligrams appear in your hands, right? There's a very nice, actually we saw there's a nice documentary, Indra Swami, he went up there, with a group of devotees once, and they trekked up there and got some shaligrams, and they said, amazing place. Srila Gopala Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.